Go. And I'm going to go back to Zoom. And it says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So, hi.
Hi. Oh,
Hi, Kat.
hey.
Welcome to another Otherworldly Arts Artist Conversations. Tonight we have Miss Kitty. And Miss Kitty, would you please introduce yourself for everybody who doesn't know who you are?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Kat, sometimes known as Miss Kitty. I won't be offended if you call me Miss Kitty or Kat. I am a tattoo artist of almost 20 years and also an artist, hence why I'm here. And yeah, I guess we'll get into all the details of that stuff. I'm from Minnesota. I feel like I should always say that. That's my connection to all of this. I'm from Minnesota. I lived there for most of my life, and I've been here in the middle of nowhere in north central Arizona for about almost 7 years. I don't know. Time is an illusion. Who knows? Something.
And you live on a super awesome zombie apocalypse ranch.
Yeah, exactly. Which I guess has kind of shaped my identity as a person and an artist too. But yeah, I live in a super weird, halfway underground, zombie apocalypse ranch. So me and the turkeys and the chickens, and I don't have horses and goats, but hopefully soon. That's the goal. We'll see. I can get a ranch hand.
So Kat sometimes comes to visit to Minnesota every once in a while, but she probably hasn't physically been to many of our shows because she usually sends her art to us and then we present it. So sorry, Jaxie is super excited right now. So, you work in your home, like doing your art. You kind of have your own studio. Yep. And you work in kind of varied size. I've seen you like work in really smaller size and kind of larger size. And can you talk about what different types of media is and what different types of art pieces that you make?
Sure. Oh, that's funny. This is the question out of everything that I was dreading because I feel like right now.
Okay, well, like I already know what you make, so I could start ticking it off and you can tell me about each thing.
No. It's okay. I just feel like I could go on forever because right now I truly, I'm like, well, I'm in almost every medium right now. And yeah, to go way back, I'm pretty sure I participated in the very first Gods and Monsters. When it was taken over by, or before you took it over, when it was run by a different person. So yeah, I've been a long time participant, and I think I've done all of the shows that you guys have put on, and then the same with the Unicorn Archer too. I think there was one year I skipped, and maybe that was when I was moving from Minneapolis to the middle of nowhere, Arizona, to the Apocalypse Ranch. But yeah, so right now, presently, of course, I tattoo. That's my mainstay. I tattoo 4 days a week. I spend 40 plus hours a week tattooing and illustrating. Digital illustration is something that I do as of recently, which I'm really proud of because I was always so intimidated by, Photoshop and all the drawing programs. But I found something that works for me, and that feels really good. I paint in acrylic and watercolor. I haven't done so much watercolor lately. Probably because it's so closely related to tattooing that when I'm doing art that's separate from tattooing, I like to have a departure from that, just kind of like a creative break. So that's probably got the least of my attention lately, but that used to be what I did the most. So lots of painting in acrylic and enamel. I've been painting on everything from RVs to denim jackets and purses. Very recently just started making some earrings, which kind of that borders on the crafting thing a little bit, but I'm going to start making the actual metal pieces, the conchos that go on the earrings. So I'm going to get into a little metal fabrication. What else am I doing? I just did a little bit of 3D work on the piece I just made for the upcoming Gods and Monsters. Photographs. I did some foil printing over quarantine. I guess at this point, if something interests me, I'm just going to dive in and try it, because the worst that can happen is I make something that I don't like and I don't have to show anyone, but I learned something in the process.
So beyond that, I've seen you also sew.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking at 2 sewing machines right now.
I've also seen you do interior design, and you're really good at it. Um, uh, I've seen you have pictures of the trade shows from the tattooing conventions that you go to, the setup that you have for that. And the only reason that I wanted you to go through your laundry list is that, like, I think people get really pigeonholed in like one thing that they do. And like, it's a good reminder that it's okay to try other things and fail at it,
Oh,
like, I mean, just because you're really good at one thing doesn't mean that you can't not try something else. Like as an artist, we're always like going to continue to grow and figure things out. And it's like, it's funny that you said that I'm the reminder that tells you that you're an artist, because you do it all the time, all the time.
I know. I feel like we've had that conversation so many times where you say, well, you're an artist. I'm like, oh yeah, I do art for a living. I don't know why my mind goes somewhere else, but maybe because I'm in a tattoo shop and I go to a place where I'm doing the same task and I've been doing that for so long, for some reason it feels removed from what in my mind the idea of an artist is, and what of course it is, but in my mind, what I'm doing on my days off is more, that's me doing my art. So,
I mean, but when you're like, I mean, I can see that, because like I feel like I do art for a day job, and like sometimes it's really hard not to suffer from burnout,
mhm.
like when you're doing it. And then like, um even someone told me a while back, she was like, actually it was Ella, she was like, why can't this thing be your art? Or like, why aren't you doing this? Like, and then like that started peeling away all these layers, that like I touch art every single day. Like I can't keep my hands out of it,
Right.
and it's like, you do it on a self, like I feel like you're very independent and you're very brave, from what I've known like of you as an artist. And when I say those things is that like you go and try, and like from what I've known of you, you've educated yourself on everything. Like I know that you have some formal training, because like I guess like tattooing, you have to
Yeah.
have something that somebody shows you something. But like, who taught you how to do Photoshop?
Right. Yeah. No one. That's why I hated it for so long. Yeah. I just taught myself. And I taught myself a couple new programs over quarantine. I just forced myself into it, and foil prints and photography and everything else. I mean, the last painting class I took was in high school. So even that stuff, it's kind of, yeah, I guess that's how I learn. I kind of want to learn on my own time. I'm sure there's benefit to formal training, but that's just not the method I take.
Well, I've had conversations with other artists, like, is it important? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that like having like going to formal education for art is important? Like, how does one become an artist?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I just had a conversation with a friend and coworker of mine. She's not a tattooer, but she's an artist, and she's working in the tattoo shop, so she's surrounded by artists all the time. And I guess my most honest answer to that would be that I don't think school is necessary. I don't think that to become an artist, you need formal training. Certainly, for some people, that's a path that they take and it suits them. Um, I guess I think at this point, mostly my answer is kind of political, because people end up leaving college with so much student loan debt that they can't take that knowledge and just go to their cottage and paint oil paintings, and be fulfilled with what everything that they took away from their 4 years in school. They have to go be a server or a cab driver or do some labor job to pay back the enormous student loan debt. And that's just going to stifle their creativity. It's going to make them sad and depressed, probably, and leave them totally financially immobilized. And Noam Chomsky had a quote like that, that if I even attempt it, I'll butcher it, but it applies to all kind of education in the United States at this point, where you really can't make much of a change or pursue your interests when you leave with that much debt. I think if someone could go to school, get that formal training, through scholarships and not leave with debt, then yeah, go for it. I love learning. I value education. I think it's really important. I went back to school kind of because of a burnout crisis in the middle of my tattoo career, which I never stopped tattooing. I just tattooed a little bit less, went to school full time, and then continued to tattoo when I graduated. But obviously, education is important to me, and I accrued a good amount of debt doing that too. And I have no regrets from that experience and the knowledge that I took away from it. But yeah, the debt factor is just, I don't think people need to. If you're a creative person and you have an urge to create, just do it. Just put the time in. Just start making things. And there's probably a good amount of people that after they pursue a formal education, I think certain maybe impulses or kind of creative impetuses might get a little stifled. There's a handful of artists, and I mean a handful of very successful people who are art school dropouts, but also just college dropouts who've gone on to do great things. So everybody has the right path for them, and I can't say what's right. But for me, yeah, I didn't have the formal art education. I took some art classes in college, but yeah, I don't have an art degree.
But I feel like one thing that I see from like working artists that work every single day is that something that I see in you is that you're very disciplined. I mean, like, if you had to explain to all the space aliens out there who have never met you on this planet, can you just go through like a typical week of like, I wake up, I do this, I have to, check this social media and this and whatever. And it's like, I know, just you explain it first, but I have an idea of what it is.
Oh, I feel like this is also going to make me sound like a crazy workaholic, but yeah, I kind of never stop working. And I think that's part of that is, just the drive that I have, and I'm passionate about it. I want this to be my life, so I have to put the time in. But my work week starts on Wednesday, technically. I live an hour and a half away from where I work, so I usually wake up, I do my breakfast, I try to work out for an hour and a half or 2 hours because it really clears my head, spend some time with my puppies, do my yoga, go to work. Then tattoo usually for about 10 hours. My day is pretty packed, so it's back-to-back tattoos. If I'm lucky, sometimes I'll get a little time to draw and do emails in between that, get a little social media time in there. And of course the day, unfortunately and regrettably, starts with, checking social media, trying to make a post every day for my work page, checking in with all of that, checking in with the messages, checking in with the emails, seeing if anything urgent has happened. And then I get home from work, I usually draw for a little bit and then go to bed, repeat that. Wednesday through Saturday is pretty disciplined of wake up, email, social media, breakfast, workout, work, draw, go to sleep, repeat. Sundays, I allow myself to sleep in a little bit. And I try to do my personal creative projects Sunday and Monday. Or if there's, like this weekend I had to work on Gods and Monsters, meaning that of course I saved to the very last minute. And I had like 4, so of course you're reminding me, I'm like, yeah, I had a pile of sewing projects to do, like a mountain of sewing things that I'm working on, some of which are just really weird costume things that I'm totally making for myself. I worked on some other stuff too, some digital illustrations, punctuate all of that with emails and social media. And then Tuesdays I usually dedicate to doing a lot of drawing for the week. I try to knock out my significant drawings or drawings that are going to take more time for my tattoo appointments. and also do my email correspondence, and then fulfill all my Etsy orders. And that just repeats.
And Kat has an Etsy shop. I forgot about that piece.
About that.
So, I mean, like, I think that artists like we know how much time and effort this puts in, and I feel like artists who are new artists are like starting to get a handle that like you are a small business, and sometimes being an artist is like 5 small businesses, and people don't even like get that. But we should look at some of your work, because I know that it's sitting around you. Will you share some of it with us?
Absolutely. I shrouded myself with all the stuff I'm working on right now. Let's see, I have just an array of things. Yeah, I have, of course, my tattooing, my main job, and then I have my Etsy shop, and I do commissions, which take many forms. I think right now I have like 3 digital illustrations that I'm working on, and I feel like there's something else. Oh, 2 logos also that I'm working on. Yeah, I just have some prints. I don't know if you guys can see these. My ode to Minnesota.
There you go.
Little,
Nice.
and that's actually related to some of the commissions that I have. Oop, upside down flying saucer, and of course, science fiction and Western and sci-fi themes are prevalent in my work and my brain, and that's how they ended up there. The colors are a little weird on these. I'm gonna try to get closer just because my light's overpowering them.
So can you talk about, like, you said that science fiction and like, I know that you're a super nerd, and like, so can you talk about some of the themes that are important when you make your personal art?
Yeah, let's see. Well, retro imagery, I just feel like there was an era that people cared a lot more about design in general, and I feel really passionate about that, whether it's in my, my home, and as you mentioned, my interior design, or the clothes I wear, the things I sew, just the way people illustrated things. I feel like I value a lot of the design aspects of yesteryear quite a bit. And yeah, just because I am a nerd, I guess I'm it's probably fair to say I'm obsessed with science fiction. I don't know what's healthy and what's not. I think about it all the time. I relate most things in my life and things around me to science fiction books and movies that I've seen, and things I've read. So that's pretty dorky. So yeah, lots of flying saucers and trailers, and since I've been out here, in the Wild West on my apocalypse ranch, that certainly influenced a lot of my art of recent, just being kind of romanticized by ideas of the Wild West. These are some of the foil prints that I randomly taught myself how to do over.
So cool.
Quarantine. It was really fun. It's one of those things I started, I made a few, and then I didn't make any more, but we'll jackalope with some desert. Some inspirational COVID text for people. Their jackalope. I'm fairly obsessed with the movie Annihilation right now, so that was the theme of my latest Gods and Monsters piece. But I love old horror movies too, of course. I'm a big Hitchcock fan. I've kind of been obsessed with the movie The Bird since I was pretty young. A little Prince print, more Minnesota love.
Also with that, you make amazing costumes.
Oh, thank you. I love costuming.
Yeah.
I should have brought my lobster claws in here. That's my my latest, since we're on the subject, Gods and Monsters piece.
Beautiful.
Never been unveiled yet. Lost some sleep last night for this piece, but I'm pretty happy with it. If those of you haven't seen the movie Annihilation, I recommend it. It's also a book trilogy. There's a lot more information about what exactly the shimmer is and the aliens and the replication that happens there.
Kat, for your Gods and Monsters piece, because that's like, you have a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Is it a painting with a resin and then three-dimensional?
Yeah, so I did a painting of, I mean, inspired by Annihilation. So it's technically a pronghorn. So the antelope of the Wild West that's been turned into flowers, as happened to a lot of the creatures in the movie and book Annihilation. And we have a little shimmer here. But yeah, I painted this on a plank of wood, and then that's all acrylic. I sealed it with resin, and then I took some insulation foam and put that around to kind of frame it. And then I have a bunch of like semi-precious crystals and rocks in there that I kind of implanted in the foam. And then once that all settled, I painted around there. So it kind of looks like, I don't know, the tumor growth fungus replicating around the little pronghorn there. There's no pronghorn in that movie, but there is in my life. So yeah. And I don't know, what else do you want to see? I have I'm obsessed with old neon signs also. And I think part of this ties into, I feel like we're getting really deep into my psyche here. My like fear of history being lost, kind of. And I went to school for archaeology, and I think because of that, I have a little, I don't know, almost a panic about things from before times just disappearing and people not caring. And I think certainly for things from the kind of mid-century era, it's not old enough yet that people care about it. And we're losing things in our not so distant past. And it makes me panic a little bit. But I love, like I said, the design. So I did a photo series. Anytime I see kind of old motel signs, I end up taking photos of them. So these are some prints I made, some photos that I take that I mounted on wood. And since I love some epoxy, they're all coated. These are all on my Etsy as well, the same with my prints.
They're amazing.
These. I have so many more photos that I have yet to work through, and I'll probably end up doing some more with these. Some of the first series that I did with the motel photos, I drew in a lot of flying saucers and, of course, other sci-fi elements. And for these ones, I just wanted to try without and just kind of let the photos speak for themselves with a little bit of manipulation and editing, but mostly they're just the pure photos. But I might go back to throwing in some of the flying saucers for the next round because I can't help it. Yeah, and there's.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I tell the story about when we were in Utah and I was talking with those Mormons and I couldn't find you because you were taking a picture of a sign.
Yeah, I was.
And I had to go panic, and I had to go back and talk to the Mormons again because I was like, hi, I'm just looking for my friend. And they're like, oh, no, you're not. And I was like, maybe.
How do you know what I'm doing? That's right. I forgot about that. I do that all the time. I'll be driving and I'll have to pull over on the side of the road and take a photo of some signs, or yeah, like in that instance, be in a carload of people and just like disappear for a second because I have to go take it's an obsession. I have to go take photos of these signs. And oh, actually, let me grab something really quick off the screen here. So this is worlds colliding right now. There's a motel, well, there was a motel here. And in my opinion, this was about the best thing in this whole thing. City that I live nearest to was this sign. And finally one day I was like, okay, I got to take pictures of the sign. I think they're going to tear down the motel. And I did. So I don't have any of these in prints, but I should probably do that again. It's a beautiful atomic era sign. Just, everything about it is perfect. It's in really good shape. And I heard murmurings in the town that they were going to turn it into a Circle K sign, which I don't think you guys have Circle K in Minnesota, but it's a gas station. It's just a icky, cruddy gas station. And I saw a mock-up of the sign, and I started a campaign to stop them from taking over the sign. And I got the Arizona Vintage Sign Coalition and a couple other organizations involved that find like the old motel signs on Route 66. And if they can't find a way for the city to preserve them, they'll find investors who take them down, and they'll go to like the Neon Museum, which we went to in Vegas, or there's a couple other places. And I got them to save the sign. I can't say it was all my effort, but like I was really passionate about it. And I was like writing messages to the mayor and starting campaigns online. And apparently it was in really good shape. It's been taken down. It's being housed somewhere. And they said normally like they're really full of birds' nests and rats and things. And this one wasn't, and all the neon was working, but I was super happy. That was one of those, I'm like, I have to get a photo of this. It's very important. We need to preserve this history. And now it's gone. It's not there. It's just in a warehouse somewhere. So I guess I did my job.
It's like, it's still protected. Still
there. Yeah, it is. I feel like that's the best outcome that could happen. So
someone recently, like we drove by and they were talking about that there's this beautiful old sign that's kind of near the Capitol, and to replace it and to fix it is like more expensive than the building. So there's nothing they can do. So it just sits there kind of half broken, and it's amazing. It's so beautiful. I'll show it to you the next time that you come up here.
It's gonna kill
me. Sorry.
Like, don't even tell me about it, because I'll want to take it down and bring it to my house.
All right, can I show some of your Instagram of your other artwork and stuff? Like, this is the thing, is that Kat, like, just throw out a number really quick. This is gonna be an awkward question. How many pieces of artwork have you made in your life?
Oh, ooh, that is a tough question. Are we counting tattoos?
Yeah, let's count tattoos. Does that weight feel really heavy?
Millions? Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. I feel like that's not out of the question, because I've been doing this since I was a little kid. And my dad was an artist too. So I think just being around an environment where you see people creating all the time, that's just what you do. I've been painting and drawing since I could hold a paintbrush. So if I think, even if I just did one piece a day for most of my life, which would be a modest estimate. I mean, I'm terrible at math, but it's a lot. I mean, there's Friday the 13th, which you could arguably not call a Friday the 13th tattoo art, but you know, some of those days I did 60 tattoos a day. So I feel comfortable saying millions.
You've made millions and millions of pieces of artwork.
Yeah, that's crazy. Thanks.
Yeah. I just like I said, if I'm the person that's going to remind you for the rest of your life that you're an artist, then I'm going to keep telling you every time I see you that you're an artist. Like,
when I'm running out of the car at the scary Mormontown to go take photos of signs and disappearing, you're an artist.
It's you, Kat. Too bad. You're an artist. All right.
I think that's part of it though, is like, even when I went back to school, that was the hardest thing for me, was that all my school time was cutting into my time where I would create, and it really bummed me out. And I found myself depressed. And at first I didn't know why. And then I realized I just needed to like glue some things together. I needed to like get a hot glue gun and just slap some things together. I just needed to create something that wasn't reading a book or writing a paper. And maybe that's kind of going full circle to one of the first questions you asked, but maybe that's what makes someone an artist, is just that innate need and desire to create things.
I mean, you took anthropology and like I may have this wrong and you can correct me, but I remember reading something that like when you see the evolution of man, like it like you start seeing like cave paintings. And
Mm-hmm.
like I think that it was like humans started making tools and then fire and then art, but all of that really starts it with creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to construct something, but like is that design, like that's design and that is art and that is function and all of these things, like it's kind of always been like in us. And like
Yeah.
I'm not sure of how many other animals like create just to create if it's not like based in some sort of survival tactic.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I've seen YouTube videos of like elephants painting at the zoo or whatever, but I'm
Well, would they do that without us, providing them that impetus? I think that's what's argued. And in anthropology and archaeology specifically, the hallmark of what makes Homo sapiens sapien, besides their big brains and the like occipital bun and something about the chin that I don't remember, but that hallmark is that people started to create things. And that's reflective of a couple things like bigger brain, but also leisure time. And leisure time maybe because people weren't just consumed with survival, so they had the time to create things. And one of the first things that Homo sapiens sapiens arguably created was a bead, which is really cool. Or that's what we have evidence for. There could be things that are older, but as of right now, that's kind of where it stands. And then yeah, the cave paintings and kind of onward from there.
yep. So I mean, the we have it since the dawn of time.
Yeah, it's necessary, I think. Even people who say I'm not creative or I can't draw or I'm not an artist, I think everyone has a degree of some kind of spark in them that makes them want to create or have that need to create, whatever it is.
I don't know if you've ever read the book The Artist's Way.
No, I haven't.
It's not my favorite, but they have a term in there that's called shadow artists, and a shadow artist is essentially like humans that they wanted to be artists late in life, and because
Okay.
that somebody told them along the way they couldn't be an artist. Like it's a
Yeah.
social cultural thing that you don't get to create, you have to do this, you know. And so when it ends up being, they're in their late 60s or they're heading towards retirement, they're like, I want to take up watercoloring
Mm-hmm.
because they never had the opportunity to. And it's like when I read that, it was like such like sorrow for
Oh,
them.
yeah.
It's like these people, you get nothing your whole life. You get to not create.
You were just stifled for your, I think that happens to a lot of women too. I feel like, I hear all just talking to people and tattooing, I feel like a lot of people have that auntie or that grandma who didn't pick up a paintbrush until she was 60 because she was busy, raising kids and taking care of the household and was making like these beautiful landscape paintings that no one ever got to see. And yeah, I mean, of course it happens to men too, but yeah, it's sad. It's sad to think that people suppress that. And I know for me, I couldn't do that. And that's part of the reason I don't have a job in academia and I, make my weird lowbrow out and run around taking photos of signs on the side of the road. Because that's
And
what makes me
save
happy.
the signs. You save them.
Save the signs.
Well, okay. I have your Instagram up, and I like first off, the Marge Simpson's pretty great.
That's the bearded lady, yeah.
And I realized that this is your Instagram for Miss Kitty Tattoo is, I mean, this is primarily for tattooing, but you do everything. Like you have all your links up here, you have your Etsy.
Yeah.
You also do a podcast.
Yeah.
Like tell me about all the other things you do that's not this. That because I don't think I even mentioned all of them.
Oh my God. So yeah, I have a podcast. I do that with three other ladies that I've met since I've been in Arizona, and we talk about spooky stuff and paranormal happenings. That makes my little spooky heart happy. Um, it's a spinoff from their podcast, which is kind of about punk rock and women in punk rock. And this is just that kind of channeled in a spooky direction. So that works for what I'm into. And let's see, yeah, I have the ranch, I take care of the animals, I have the Etsy, I travel to Minnesota to tattoo, painting, drawing. Yeah, I don't know what I'm leaving out. I dabble in some musical instruments. I like to sing karaoke. I don't know.
And you're a really fantastic cook.
Oh, thank you. You wouldn't maybe say that lately, but
I think you're a fantastic cook.
oh, thank you, Danielle.
Okay.
I need to make some pies. It's the season for pumpkin pie, so
I agree.
yeah.
We were actually having a shortage of pumpkin pie filling up here.
No.
Yeah. And like I need it for all my foster dogs, like if they have
Oh,
upset
yeah.
tummies and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I like couldn't find any. And then finally my friend who's a baker is like, I have some like hoarded away from last year if you want it. And I was like, oh, thank you, Brandy.
Oh, I don't even know if we're having a shortage down here. No, I hope no one in Arizona is listening. I'm gonna have to go to the store after this and go get some pie filling.
Well, okay, so these I'm looking at this is something new that I haven't seen from you. These are earrings, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I'm making jewelry. Surprise. Yeah, I have a bunch of them in front of me too. So those are all concho earrings. I feel like this falls a little bit more into the crafty realm, and I almost didn't even put them on my work page because it is so different from my tattoo and illustration work. But whatever, it's art. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to actually start fabricating the metal pieces on my own because I have a little bit different direction that I'm going to take with it. And I haven't started that yet, but I'm actually going to learn from someone. I'm not doing this on my own. I'm going to have someone show me how to do this. So big steps for 2020 here.
Woo!
Woo! So yeah, I made a bunch of concho earrings. Those are all listed on my Etsy as well. Just binge made a bunch of jewelry. That's the second batch of those that I made. The first batch sold like hotcakes.
And then I'm gonna kind of scroll through some of these.
Sure.
And you can stop me if you want to talk about anyone specific, but I'm already seeing a theme that there's a lot of flying saucers going down over here.
Yep. It's a pretty good mix of flying saucers, aliens, and horror type things, and also, I mean, just lowbrow stuff because that's all part of it. Yeah, mostly flying saucers. Painted that purse there. I like painting on denim a lot, I've realized, and I've done a few denim jackets in the last couple of years that I really like. Painting on leather is initially really, it's a really nice texture to paint on, but getting that to stay is kind of a pain. So I don't know if I would recommend that to anyone out there. It looks really nice, but inevitably it's gonna flake, so don't do that.
Kat, I never asked for your prints that like because you have a lot of prints. Do you print them yourself, like, or do you get them printed somewhere?
So the photo prints I've all done myself. I got a decent photo printer. I think I did that during quarantine too. I've been doing those on my own. My art prints, I do send out for those. I don't do those on my own. I just didn't want to put the investment into a printer for that, but I may end up doing that on my own someday. Need to learn more about that. There's a lot to know about printers, and I already have like 3 taking up space in here, so.
I'm into the pumpkin.
Oh, I love the little pumpkin guy. Yeah, pumpkin cowboy.
Little bats. And your stickers are amazing. Are you still selling the stickers right now?
So I have those with the exception of the George Floyd one because I don't feel right about selling that. They're all for sale individually on my Etsy page, but also if you are so inclined, all the info is in that caption there, but if you send me proof of a donation with a receipt, there's no deadline for that. I will send you those stickers, and there's different sticker packs that come with different donation denominations. And there's a handful of places that I have listed that I feel like are good places to donate to, but a couple people have made a case like, hey, I'm donating here, and looked it up and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Send you some stickers. So I'm doing that kind of continuous fundraiser. I'm also doing a fundraiser for McGeezy, which is in Minneapolis, and that was burned down during the uprising. And they did raise a lot of money for rebuilding, but as a community outreach center for Indigenous youth, I think it's, regardless of if they need to build a new structure or not, I think it's important to support them. So I have another set of stickers that are all based in Ojibwe beadwork designs, and it's maybe close to there, I'm not even sure, but they, with certain donation denominations, I'll send off those stickers as well. Oh, and since we're at it, if you go to the Monument Valley design in the lower left corner, yeah, I'm also, which is kind of only relevant to Arizona folks, but I'm doing donation runs up to the Navajo Nation, which has been hit really hard by COVID, of course. I think per capita, it's the worst in the nation, next to White River Apache, which the organization that I'm working with also gives donations to. So people can take donations. That was just a little illustration reminder that people can drop off donations at the shop that I work at in Phoenix, or you could always PayPal or Venmo the organization directly. They always need some kind of help. And they're called Tallahogan, and they're based in Flagstaff, but I'm happy to run things up there. Otherwise, people can get in touch with that organization directly too. So just plug in some of the extracurricular stuff that I'm doing here too.
First off, everyone should just go and follow Kat on Instagram to have that. Oops. Let's see.
Oh yeah, and just a Bambi.
This is Bambi.
More flying saucers. There's a denim jacket that I painted. Looks kind of shiny, but it's a fun one. Kind of feels like the jacket from Drive, but that's cool too. Oh, there's the McGeezy designs right there in the middle. Those are the stickers that I designed for McGeezy. And with donations, I will send those to you as well. And I think you can donate directly from their website. Yeah, it's listed right there. Okay. I'm sure they're still raising money. They're going to need it. And especially with, of course, COVID and everything being shut down, I'm sure that's impacting them. So yeah, give me your money. I'll send you some stickers.
Do it.
Do it. Oh, there's a little painting that I did. I like that one. I forgot about that. The little cowboy flying saucer. Yeah. That was a fun one. That was a commission piece, but obviously it was like, yeah, that's right up my alley. Kind of feels like Utah.
How big is that one?
Maybe 8 inches tall. It's not very big. It's pretty tiny. About the size of the Annihilation one that I did, minus the kind of border.
Your paintings are usually within, like, they're under 24 inches, right?
Usually, yeah. I used to work a little bit bigger. I don't know why I stopped.
Maybe most of the time you're sending it to me, so they should be smaller.
Yeah, there's that too. I guess that has a huge part of it too, is I've been shipping almost everything out lately. So yeah, I'm not going to ship a giant painting because it's really expensive. And Prince, there he is. That was from a Prince show in Minneapolis, of course, a while ago, and made a lot of Prince.
Prince section.
Oh, I did a bunch of cat and dog portraits over quarantine too. I forgot about that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't work a lot in realism, but I can. It's a weird thing, I think, because so much of my work is really stylized that people just assume that I'm limited to that. But I do enjoy portraiture and realism. It doesn't come up.
And I don't know, sometimes like I'm a big believer that there's a time and place for all types of art. And it's like, I feel like when you make artwork that's photorealistic, like it helps, and this is, I want to use a better word now because I'm having feelings about J.K. Rowling, but like it helps the muggles understand the artwork a little bit better. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, it looks like a photograph and I can draw a stick figure. That must be like a linear like definition of you must be good at what you're doing if you can make it look like a piece of technology that has recreated life.
Yeah.
And I mean like we had a artist conversation with CL Martin like a while back, and like her things are very photorealistic, but they're not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that people don't really see that like every single mark that you have on here was like by your hand. Like this is
Yeah.
now art because of like the way that the different types of like mark making, the strokes, the media, like the color choices, all of those things are coming from you. Like I hate to
Mm-hmm.
say it, but like I see photorealism paintings and I'm not interested.
Yeah. 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 I think you put it in a really good way though. And the same is definitely true in tattooing. And it's something that I have an inner conflict about because yeah, of course I can do a portrait. You know, at one time that was really intimidating to me. And at some point I just had to get over it and jump in and do it because it's really important to be a well-rounded, you know, artist or person. Um, and yeah, I'm comfortable doing portraits. There are people who are far better at it than I am, but can I do a portrait that, you know, I mean, you can look at my page. I did a Bride of Frankenstein, like,
Mhm.
I think you know who they are. There's still like, and that's also like a digression, but there's still a degree of stylizing, I think, that happens no matter what. It's not going to be, I'm not Chuck Close, you know, I don't care. I'm not going to replicate things to that degree where it's going to like blur like a photo at the edge. But people definitely hold, the muggles hold those in higher esteem who do photorealism at times than those who maybe do traditional tattoos, which are, there's a formula to that too. There are rules to follow. It's not just that cartoony style, which makes me crazy when people say that. But yeah, so anyway, sometimes I do portraity stuff.
Oh, look at this little guy.
Yes. What is it? Is that a hairless guinea pig? I think that's what it was. Yeah.
I always call them baby hippos because they just
Yeah.
look like baby hippos.
Yeah. I made some tie-dye t-shirts over COVID. I forgot about that.
Oh
There's
yeah.
some more portrait, but there's that giant snake that crawled on my desk. That's a Wild West. More kitties.
Wait, snake?
Oh yes, if
What?
you want to see a dumb video. There's this, I was painting late at night and the snake just real casually came up right onto my little desk shrine, sat right on the Virgin of Guadalupe there, and was just watching me paint. It couldn't have come at a like stranger time though too, because it was pretty late at night. I was about to go to bed. I was kind of wrapping things up. The snake just cruised right up onto my desk, and it was really docile. But obviously, I don't need a 4-foot king snake in my work office.
What? This is
Yeah, it was so bizarre. It was definitely the summer, spring of snakes. And I guess all the photos on my page too that are just of landscapes, those are all photos that I've taken, manipulated. But yeah, I did some weird, I don't even know, like photo manipulation, recoloring collagey things over COVID too, and took those photos. Those are all photos of landscapes that I've taken too, and then recolored. Forgot about that. It's like going down memory lane. What have I done with myself the past year? There's more kitties. Some illustrations for a wildlife rehab center too down here.
I'm gonna draw a big heart around both of your little babies.
Oh, I think they both made a little appearance so far. We have Ruby snoring, so if anyone can hear that, it's not my breathing. I did a little drawing club over quarantine too, just to keep myself occupied with assignments, because it's really strange to go from having to produce, I mean, so I'd say as little as 12 drawings a week, but sometimes it's more to not really having specific drawing assignments. So my friend Julie started Sketchy Times, and I think it kind of all just fizzled out. We all kind of gradually returned to work and commissions, and which is good, but some of those are from the drawing prompts for that. Some weird commissions and a random Iron Maiden tattoo in there.
I mean, but that's what happens when you're a working artist that works with like a client base, is that you have to have so much range to be like, what do you need? What do you want? I'm here for you. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Do you want a crazy psychedelic wedding flyer? Do you want a cat portrait? Like, what do you need? You want some stickers? I can make you some stickers. It's me as a vampire. Just actually in real life. More UFOs.
Here, I'm gonna bounce over. We're almost out of time.
Oh, okay. Wow, time flies.
I know, right? I wanted to show your website because it is such a nice website. And I also love your logo so much.
Oh, thank you.
With the little flying saucer, and you got the kitty and everything in here. And then I think that you always have good marketing for yourself as an artist. And it takes a lot of time, to like do all of this stuff, but like you have everything like ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, see. Pop to your Etsy store. There it is.
Like for that one.
Super consistent.
I try, yeah. It's a lot of work that goes into maintaining all of that, and that's probably one of the least favorite parts of my job. I just want to make things. Like, in a perfect world, if I had an assistant, which maybe someday that will happen, who could just answer, someone I could trust and who could be inside my brain, who could pack my Etsy orders and answer my emails and do all the busy work, and I could just make things. That would be my dream world. I can't remember if we updated this. I don't think this is updated. An update's coming very soon because I have a bunch, I don't know. I haven't looked at this. I just sent my web designer, Dan, a bunch of, this isn't updated. There's a ton more commissions I'm going to add in paintings. I love that painting though. Well, Grandin.
It's just, I mean, you have millions of pieces of art. You have millions of pieces of art of everything that you have. I mean, like, it's I know that you grew up without the internet. Like, there was a time, like, and forgive me, I can't remember if you're your age right now, but like Gen Z ish, Zennial kind of era.
I'm like Gen X technically.
Okay. So like you had no internet. Like this did not exist. This was not part of like how you did things. Like you had to learn, and you were like very on point with everything. So when you're doing this, what kind of research and everything do you do to get yourself like kind of up to the caliber?
Well, I think my job helps a lot because my clientele is young people. I'm around a lot of young people, and some of my coworkers are younger people too. So just being involved in the tattoo industry in a way helps me with a lot of that stuff. I get to, talk to young people, and when you're tattooing someone, you can get to know someone pretty well because you're kind of locked into sometimes a conversation for a few hours, and so I can pick people's brains about things like that. So, I mean, that's probably it, is just trying to see in a non-predatory way, I guess, like, what are people doing? I'm interested in what people are doing, not like I have to be on the next social media platform to stay relevant, because that's weird. But I think it's a genuine curiosity that keeps me, I guess, invested. And also probably being a little bit of a perfectionist and just wanting to try to always have my best examples of work, in the best format presented, and something that's not clunky. I'm not naturally a really tech savvy person. I don't consider myself. I feel like I struggle with that. So for me, if something looks good and is easy to use and it operates well as a platform for me and for my clients, that's something that I'm going to gravitate towards. And I think in general, those are the things that work tech-wise. Oh yeah, but I guess to really date myself, when I first went to college, I didn't even have a computer. I had a word processor. And we didn't have a computer in my house growing up either. We had a typewriter, and that's what I did most of my school assignments on, I think, until we got the word processor, which I'm sure people don't even know what that is, but you had 4 lines of text on a screen, and then you'd hit a print button and it would type everything like a typewriter all at once. And you'd of course find your error after the ribbon ran out and you're all out of paper and printed 40 pages. But yeah, that's about where I entered into the tech world. This is not inherent to me at all. I didn't have video games growing up. I barely had TV. We had like 4 VHS, and I saw them all 100 times. I resisted even having a smartphone for far longer than most people in the world probably did before I finally caved and saw the importance of it. But I think that was even within our friendship that I was like, okay, I'm going to get a smartphone now.
I vaguely remember that, but well, so if you had to talk to like other artists that wanted to move into a full-time working artist position, what pieces could you give them to help them?
I think you have to be really disciplined. If you're looking to transition from some kind of career into art, you have to every day make time to create something, even if you're tired. And I have to do that to myself sometimes too. After a long day of work, I sometimes just make myself draw or make myself work on something or answer some emails or just get those Etsy orders out, whatever it is. You have to just be really driven to work at making it happen. It's not going to happen any other way. I mean, I think even some of the most talented and diligent artists I know, it's not like they had some break because someone discovered them. That's not going to happen. You just have to keep plugging away at it. You just have to work hard like anything else. And I think just getting a really large body of work together and then being consistent and in your self-discipline, but consistent in like having a website and having these channels where you can show people what you're creating is really important. But I don't think anyone should have some illusion that being an artist is some sort of a alternative to working really hard. Of course, I feel really fortunate to do what I do, but it's not as though that doesn't happen with a ton of sacrifice and a ton of work that goes into it too. So I've spent a fair amount of time hiding out alone. I know earlier too, you said like, oh, people from Minneapolis, they might not know you and they probably haven't seen your face, even though I lived there for 34 years. And that's probably also because I am fairly introverted and hide out from people most of the time. And you know this, but you're one of like the handful of people that I do socialize with outside of my work life. But spend a lot of time at home just working on my stuff, and I enjoy it that way. But expect that if a huge social life and you know, a lot of, I don't know, what do people do? Playing video games or some sort of like leisure time activities is your thing, then I don't know, maybe it will be a harder transition to being a full-time artist. So
When I say that people may not know you, it's only because that you've been in Arizona for many years now. That's why.
it feels like a year, but I know it has been years. But also I do hide out a fair amount, and I did.
But I'm still having some issues, Kat, with, and I'm sorry if people are sending messages with the comments on the Facebook Live. You might have to go and check it kind of later. I can't get it to work properly with everything. So that's kind of my bad. But I'm going to start getting like a buddy system with this so that I can figure it out better. They updated Facebook. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But
I hate the update, by the way. If Facebook is listening, your pages update is awful. Fix it. It's not user friendly.
It isn't. So, you know, I usually ask every artist, like, I know it's always like, do you have anything else that you want to like talk about? Or if there's like a piece of art that you've like been working on that you want to share, or, you know, anything like, also like we can always have a Miss Kitty artist conversation #2, like further on, like if you like want to add anything to it. Just because that, even though I've been doing this for like 2 months now, like I'm still learning how to do this too. So
oh yeah, for sure. But you just got to jump in and do it. I don't know. I don't think I can think of anything off the top of my mind that I would like to add. But I could probably babble on about just about anything for a whole other session if you wanted to. Oh, there's something I sewed. I'm kind of proud of that little banner.
this one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, I should put together something for all the costumes that I've made, but yeah, I made that. That was kind of a giant pain, and I've never done anything like that, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out.
It looks great.
I made behind it too, that like ribbon tapestry thing too, but that's my house, and I painted all that stuff on the walls.
Your house is beautiful, which Kat's house was also featured in a magazine. That is amazing. I forget the name of the magazine though.
Oh, Prescott Women's Magazine. It's in there somewhere. There's a costume that I made. And I made that crown too, actually. That was my solstice costume. Oh, it just,
Where did it go?
I don't know. Maybe down?
Oh, there. There it is. Solstice. Nice.
Yeah. Fun stuff. That's what I do just because it makes me happy. But, as Danielle reminds me, I guess that's art too. Thanks, yeah. Danielle.
It absolutely is. And if people wanted to contact you, like to talk about art, you know, or tattoos, or to like, if they have questions about some of the other stuff that they had, what is the best way to talk to you?
Email for sure.
Okay.
I think things get lost in Instagram DMs, so I try to divert things from that channel. Things get in spam folders, and sometimes I look at something and I don't respond and I forget, and then I'll remember it 2 weeks later and I'm like, I don't know. But my email is great. Just Miss Kitty Tattoos with an S @gmail.com. I do respond to all of my emails on Tuesdays. That's one of the things I do correspondence wise. So sometimes it takes me a week to get back to you, but I will get back to everyone. And if you didn't hear back from me, that means I didn't get your email. There's a lot of letters in them, so there's room for error.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. You have amazing work, and I'm really glad that you did it with me. So.
Oh, Danielle, I love you so much.
Love you too.
Oh, I miss you. Oh, I did take pictures like right before, really quick for no reason at all. I was taking some really creepy kind of strangers-esque self-portraits in my yard right before I did this, like running around the yard in like a really creepy 60s polyester dress and a mask. So I'll post those on my Facebook and my personal page after that. Maybe I'll throw it in my Instagram story so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Well, I think that we will call it a night.
Yay.
And have a wonderful night in the beautiful Arizona desert in the middle of nowhere where you live, in your zombie apocalypse ranch that's beautiful with all your chickens.
And the turkey and the dog.
And the turkey. I forgot about the turkey. So.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.